you're someone that wants to run up a bag in crypto on the next run, what are you doing?
Right. What I'm doing right now is starting. If I'm a newbie, there's people can just look up an article that I wrote, the 11 books that made me rich, and just Luke Belmar, 11 books that made me rich on Google. Just type it, and I just very simple list the 11 books that I attribute a very big portion of skill set or money making mindset that everybody should read. So those are like the 11 foundational books, and people can look at the list there. That's where I would start. Number 2 is figure out what type of lane in business I want to take. So you can take one of 3 lanes: digital product, physical product, or service. Service, a lot of time involved and sweat equity, right? But the startup cost is low. Product, you're gonna have inventory, supply chain, a lot more logistics, but has a decent ability of scalability. And you also have the ability to use TikTok organic as a means of traffic for a physical product. And then you have your digital product, which is similar to the physical, but with no inventory, everything's happening online. I would recommend people find a product that they can provide value in or sell in the marketplace in one of those 3 areas: services, physical products, or digital products. Figure out how to make money in one of those lanes. Do not spend that money, right? Because that money is income earned, right? And income earned is money that gets invested.
It's a tool.
The money that you make from your work is not money that gets spent. That's why when I go with other people that, let's say, can't afford a $20,000 watch, to buy a $20,000 watch, to them it feels like a lot. Why?
Because they earned it with their time, the hours.
Because they calculate it not on the dollar amount, but on the amount of time that it would take them to earn that. So they're calculating based off of time, but so am I. So if it took me 1 hour or 2 hours or a day to make that 20,000, I'm like, oh, sounds good. 1 day worth of work. I got the Rolex. Whereas another person's like 60 years worth of work to get the Rolex. They're going to perceive it as intrinsically more valuable and a bigger deal. So what I need to do is, how can I maximize my output by reducing the amount of input? And the way I'm going to do that is by hustling in a vacuum of time, right? Working really hard, deploying that money so that money multiplies, cashing out in a generous way, in a way that you're not greedy. Generous, what do I mean by generous? Generous with yourself. You cash out and you put money in the bank. You don't leave it in the house playing. That's what generous means. Put it in the bank, take profit, you get out. And then you start the cycle again. Like, it's very simple. It's called the cycle of creating, multiplying, and preserving wealth. I'm writing a book about it. And I teach people these cycles that happen at a micro level and at a macro level. And I've been able to identify a couple of these cycles, and so have other successful people. And if you can find these cycles, then you can make money.
So this is kind of a personal question, right? Because I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, because I already have a bunch of money stacked up. Missed the run of crypto a little bit last time, right? Had some Cardano, whatever, stuff like that. Made some money. But I want to cash out this time. What should I do? Right? What should I be looking for?
For you personally?
What should I be studying?
Okay, for you personally?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to make it for the audience?
Whatever you want.
I'll make it for you personally. So for you personally, you should develop your social presence and your social awareness in a way whereby people respect you, in such a way where the deal flow comes into your awareness or into your vicinity. So build your personal brand, build your network, so that you're not out here buying projects on exchanges and tokens on exchanges, but you're in those deals ahead of time.
Got it.
So this is where you go from hustler to boss. Like that's the transition where it's, now I'm going to build my personal brand, not just to make the money that is going to get me the penthouse, but because it's going to position me to get into the room that is going to give me the 100xer when I put in 50 grand. That's the play. And that's the mindset I would say for you, based off of missing the next cycle, but wanting to capitalize on the next one. You got to be able to get into the projects and getting into the rooms and getting into the deals before they hit exchanges, before they hit mainstream.
It's super interesting. This whole thing, one of my friends that I met, actually I was living in Brazil at the time, and he's from Switzerland, and he's been in crypto for a long time, like 2015, or a relative long time for a young guy, 2015. And my personal brand that I had built helped me meet him through a guy that he knew, and the guy messaged me, followed me on Twitter, whatever. meet these guys, and then he's all day just looking at the charts all day long, every day, 4chan, whatever, wherever you can get information, and ended up giving us a signal for anti-Federal Reserve coin, ERSDL. It pumped super hard, made a bunch of money. I mean, it didn't take profit because I'm an idiot, but I was not making the best decisions for me there, being conscious of my verbiage. But it's just funny how that works. And really, like, to me, everything that you're saying and you're talking about, everything starts up here in self-education. Like, at the end of the day, all life is just information arbitrage. And it's really funny too, you see in the internet space where people think that, you know, like, for example, they'll look at somebody who is selling an info product, right? And they're like, oh, that's a scam. Why would he be teaching me this?
Well, that's a scam.
Well, it's just funny because they view it the complete opposite way. I mean, there's probably some bad ones out there, definitely are, but like, they're not viewing these things from a lens of how can I arbitrage the best information? Because if you had that, you're like, for example, whoever found that seed oils were bad first, they have a massive information arbitrage and all these different verticals, whether it's crypto or whether it's, you know, Facebook ads in 2015. It's who can find the best ideas fastest, and that creates all of the value. And it's just a really interesting, hearing you talk is like really cementing that idea in my head that everything in this world is just who can find the most scarce information.
Well, we talk about it all the time,
meet it with
right?
demand.
Well, our businesses, because my agency grew personal brands on Instagram and monetize them with info products, right? And we've been able to arbitrage that information because we were in the game gathering the information ourselves, building the theme pages, doing all that into this product now, which is our consulting product, that nobody else has. And we have a process that nobody else has because the people that are even trying to compete with us are a year behind because we've put that distance between ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that's a perfect example of it.
It's just a really, I don't know, the way you're describing all of these things is just like really resonating with me. It's all information arbitrage. Same thing with me with like, I have a fitness company, and that's really how I got started before I was building brands on the internet and got really good at marketing and content, all these different things. That's why I was successful. Like, I had information arbitrage. I knew things like GOTA or like some of this esoteric health stuff, you know, eating raw food or carnivorous sort of animal-based sort of stuff. Like, I had access to that niche information before everyone else did, which therefore made that information valuable.
Marketing hit way harder.
Yeah, it hits way harder. It's really interesting. How do you think, so you mentioned positioning your personal brand to be able to let that deal flow come to you, and to me, information networks being really the only thing who can find the best information. I want to hear the intention behind how you position yourself so that these things happen, and how do you go and find that scarce information, or where do you look to be able to have that arbitrage for yourself?
I pay the smartest people. That's it. Money talks. Like, I know it sounds insane, but I pay informants for information. People that work at companies, I pay them for information. Like, it's not illegal. It's not wrong. Hey, what's happening? And I'm not talking about just investing. I'm talking about just in general. Money talks. So you go to a restaurant, you pay the security guy, you pay the host, and you pay the server $100 each. Now, every time I go to that restaurant, I don't have to wait. Now, for you guys, why is that guy gonna give $300? For me, it's like, well, I give $300. Now I save 20 minutes every time I go there, and everybody knows me. So it's not just information arbitrage, but it's also positioning arbitrage. Understanding that the information is important, but you must act on the information. You need to position yourself. You need to utilize it. There's a lot of information out there as to how to succeed, or how to do well, or how to get to the next level. But it's extremely important to not only understand the information, but understand how to position yourself. Because both people may know that at the final destination of the race, right, there's the medal or the prize. Two people may have the information, but one starts 50 yards ahead. The position is at an advantage.
No.
So it's not just information arbitrage, but it's also positioning arbitrage. And if you can combine both, for example, What is a positioning arbitrage? Let's say you're Chinese, right? Positioning arbitrage, you get a better communication relationship with the supply chain, with the suppliers, right? So you have a positioning arbitrage, not just an information arbitrage because of language, but also a geographic arbitrage. So what do? Instead of going out and figuring out how I can get a third party logistics company to work with me through AliExpress, I literally just go find and pay somebody who's already positioned and has the information in China to be my personal middleman. So now I have a right-hand woman literally going to Shanghai ports and telling me what are the hottest products that are being shipped in and out of the country. It's like, the fuck am I going to do product research? My product research is on a different level, brother. I'm product researching the inventory, the count of the boxes that are going out and figuring out what is viral, what is working, what is not working ahead of time. What are the factories producing? I know it sounds insane, but it's not insane because people are doing this at the next level. Let me give you the example. There's a billionaire known as Ray Dalio. And what this billionaire did was he was going to make an investment into an oil company. He was trying to make investments in the oil space. I don't know if it was directly buying oil or selling oil, but it was a big trade that involved oil. So what do you think? This guy hops on TradingView and looks at the oil charts to make a decision? No, what he does is he shoots satellites into space and he calculates the oil containers based off of the lids that move up and down because they move based off of the levels of the oil, what the oil supply is in the oil containers based off of the imagery of the satellites. And he makes his investment decisions based off of that. Like a fucking G. What, am I not going to try and emulate that? You think I'm going to be small-minded like you peasants? Not you guys, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be in that situation where, like, I'm not going to limit myself, brother. Like, I'm going to get creative. I'm going to figure out ways to do this.
And there's always a way. There's always a way.
And there's many ways to the top of the mountain. There's not just one way. If this way doesn't work, there must be another. There has to be another way. There's infinite possibilities and the infinite of possibilities. So it's your inability to think outside of the box that we talked about in the beginning that keeps you kind of limited, which is why you said, like, I got to get out of the box. When we started, you're like, oh, the apartment, the pet, like the nice house.
Oh, yeah, it feels like a shoebox, right? Like,
it's good, but it's a box. Yeah, you got to get out of the box, bro. I agree. The mental box.
The mental box.
The limiting box. So that's my thought, bro. That's I think that's pretty good. I think people like this one.
Yeah, I think so too.